buddy? What's up to Lion Talk Live? We love you too, buddy.
What's going on, guys? It is Aiden Hutchinson.
What's up, man? It's your boy Amon-Ra St. Brown.
What's up, everybody? It's Calvin Johnson Jr. here, a.k.a. Megatron, a.k.a. First Ballot.
What's going on, Coach Dan at Lions Talk Live and the Duke Crew. This is Ball Hawk Ifeatu Melifonwu of the Detroit Lions. Everybody make sure you help support the YouTube channel Lions Talk Live by clicking that like and subscribe button. Let's get it and go Detroit.
Greetings and salutations to everyone out there in YouTube land. This is Dan Skipper, offensive weapon for the Detroit Lions. Make sure you all help support Lions Talk Live and Coach Dan by clicking on that like and subscribe button. Everybody, woo!
I love nothing more than watching Lions Talk Live every morning. Woo!
Well, greetings and salutations to everybody out there in YouTube land. I am your host once again, Dan Thornton. I want to thank you all for joining us here today, Lions Talk Live. You know what? Hey, it's the week that we all been waiting for all season long. It is Detroit versus Green Bay. It is going to be an epic battle for the NFC North. We all not get that it's not just the NFC North both teams are fighting for, but also supremacy in the NFC. The opportunity to perhaps get the number one seed. And we all get it. This game's got a whole lot of stuff going on with it between Jordan Love's groin, what's going on with anybody in the trade talk scenario for the Detroit Lions or anything else. In case you're wondering, yes, Kirby Joseph hosted a show on Instagram last night, somewhere around 11 p.m., where he actually was kind of, I don't know, I guess you could say at this point, Dan Campbelling it, trying to talk to people about the Lions making a trade and being really kind of, I don't know, under the radar or like an enigma with what he was saying. Well, it could be this, could be that, trying to give clues in regards to something. So could there be something to what Kirby Joseph was talking about last night on Instagram? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. I'll try to get some more information for you guys. Typically, guys in the offices get there around 11:30, maybe noon in some cases in Detroit media, and see if there's any kind of news or updates, but that will be later today. All right, let's get into this show, though. So to kick it off, hey, if you haven't yet subscribed to Lions Talk Live, please consider doing so. We are about 50, 40, some subs or whatever it is, away from hitting 10,300. So if you can help out that'd be great. Also, if you would be so kind while you're watching the show, reach on down, hit that thumbs up button, that like button. As you know, helps out the channel exponentially. Last but never least, if you are considering looking for something to read, maybe over the upcoming holidays, or you want to buy a gift for a friend, go to Amazon.com or wherever you find your reading material and order Kajora book. It is the first of a 9-part series. Deals with historical facts that are set around a fictional setting within Japanese and Native American cultures. So if that is your type of thing, maybe check it out, take a read at it, and if you like it, please leave a kind review. All right, with all those formalities out of the way, let's go ahead and get into the first segment of the day. And as you know, it is 5 Headlines Now. All right, 5 Headlines Now. And yes, this is a story we tried to get to you guys on air as quick as possible last night. And Jameson Williams, Detroit Lions wide receiver Jameson Williams in more hot water. Athlon Sports, story by John Shkalitsky. So as you guys probably know at this point, this story originated about 3 weeks ago yesterday. And in my opinion, trying to dive into it more, I didn't want to do a follow-up or an update video last night. So I just real quick summarize here. Jameson Williams was stopped on October 8th, pulled over. He was in the passenger seat. His brother was driving. Both of them had firearms. Both of them had licenses for it. Jameson Williams did not have a concealed permit, though. So because of that, initially, if you watch the video, if you haven't, go ahead and come to your own conclusions. But initially, it does sound like the Detroit police were going to take him to jail. But after going through all the formalities of, checking with their higher-ups, etc., a determination was made to let him go. All seemed fine and dandy, not a big problem there, until apparently about 3 or 4 days ago, some of the higher-ups in the Detroit Metro Police community were not happy that he was let go. They felt he was given preferential treatment. And while that may be true, I'm 52 years old. All I can tell you is everybody in life gets some sort of form of preferential treatment. It may be in this way or that way. maybe this, that, or the other thing. I can tell you, I've seen people in the government get treated differently than the average everyday person. I've seen people in entertainment, so movies or whatever, get treated than the rest of us. And yes, it might be a real shocker to some that sometimes sports athletes get different treatment than the rest of us. If you're a business owner, if you're a judge, whoever it is, you probably get some sort of different treatment from some people than other people. At the end of the day, do I really think this is anything more than, hey, someone trying to make a name for them or around perhaps political times, with voting coming up? Is it somebody trying to make a name for themselves with voters, I guess I should say? I think that's probably more likely than anything else. At the end of the day, it doesn't sound like he broke any laws other than he didn't have his CPL. Do I think they can really hit him with anything significant? No. Could the NFL? Maybe. I don't know. There's probably not enough full details or disclosure for anyone to maybe really make a sound determination with this. But if you want, check out the story from Athlon Sports or 50 gajillion other places that have the story up now and come to your own conclusions. All right, Detroit Lions really need to make trade deadline deal. Do they really need to make a trade deadline deal? Question mark. Sports Illustrated, story by John Macaron. Macaron on the case with this one, and I would say this. Do the Lions need to make a trade? I don't think they do. And well, let me rephrase that. Do I think they're going to make a trade? I think the window is definitely tightening. We get it. There's 6 days left. Do I feel like anybody watching this show thinks Brad Holmes is going to overpay for something? I think that may be the more pertinent question. I have no doubt the Detroit Lions have kicked the can, talked to everybody they can about this guy, that guy, and every other guy out there that could potentially come into play edge for them. That's what most GMs do. That's what most front offices do. I also think the Detroit Lions are in a bad spot because anybody that holds those players also knows Detroit has a big need. And when you have a need and the other person's aware of it, that price goes up. And yes, I do expect there will be a few teams in the NFC North that will make trades. We saw one of them yesterday. Now, whether or not Brad Holmes fights back and gets somebody, I don't know. It could be something like last year where we all went into the trade deadline really thinking the Lions were going to attain some sort of defensive help. Instead, they got Donovan Peoples-Jones. So we're all going to have to stay tuned and see what shakes out. All right, Dan Campbell continues to play both sides of the edge trade debate. SB Nation, story by Jeremy Risman. And I think he's spot on with this. I also think you're seeing some of the other Lions players and people in the front offices get in on the action. Yes, Dan Campbell kind of went one way in a press conference 48 hours ago, got everybody thinking, yes, a trade is impending. Then the following morning, his statements really changed. And, hey, I was just messing with Dave Burkett, etc. It may be true, or it may be Brad Holmes said, hey, we don't have anything finalized yet. Let's not tip our hand. And again, try to get force teams to charge us more for that because now we're on the hook for it. So what the truth actually is, come to your own thoughts on that. I do think the Lions are trying to make a trade happen. Now, again, are they going to overpaid? Probably not. All right, Detroit Lions activate 6th-round rookie offensive lineman by Ben Ravenmore from MLive.com. And I think Ben is correct, and I think we all need to take one thing into consideration. We should be shocked by this. Christian Mahogany has missed all of the preseason. He has missed basically the first month and a half of the regular season. And the fact that the Lions just activated him and put him on the 53-man roster, this tells me one thing as a coach. This kid's out there kicking the bejesus out of other people. He must be doing something pretty dang special in order, in my opinion, for them to put him on that roster spot with one of the 53. So, because of that, I think this kid must have some more potential than most of us realized. When he came out of the draft, many people thought the Lions stole him by getting him so late in the draft. And now that he's overcome hurdle after hurdle and made it to the 53, my guess is, man, this kid could be the real McCoy, and in time, maybe not this year, but next year, he might be a starter for the Detroit Lions. I am just completely shocked by this, that in 3 weeks, they were able to get him up to speed and say comfortably enough, we are going to keep you on the 53 game day roster for now. All right, reports. Lions offensive coordinator Ben Johnson may have had strong interest in Chicago Bears head coaching job last offseason. USA Today, story by Alyssa Barbery, if I'm not murdering that name, on this story. And what I'll say is it does seem like there are more and more evidence that came out in the last day or so that Ben Johnson was eyeing the Chicago Bears job. and there was some form of communications between the Bears and Ben Johnson's representation that if they went away from their current coach, that they would be pursuing him. So, with that being said, Ben Johnson, as we all know, is going to be a head coaching candidate once again at the end of the season. There is some possibility that Eberflus will not return next year to the Chicago Bears. Could we be staring at Ben Johnson twice a year again, playing against us or coaching against us? I think there's a strong possibility with that. And yes, probably all Lions fans do not want to see that day coming. All right, with all that out of the way, let's go ahead and get over to the main topic of the day. Do you know what? It's going to be a big one. It is the Detroit Lions versus the Green Bay Packers. So let's dive into it and see what you guys have to say. Is there a bigger game on the schedule this year, as of at least right now? That's what my question is for you guys, other than the Green Bay Packers versus Detroit Lions. Let's get away from the trade talk. Let's get away from the JMO talk, and let's just talk about the team and this game. Because let's be honest, Lions go into this weekend, they secure a win on the road in Green Bay. They've now beaten the Minnesota Vikings and the Green Bay Packers on the road before we've even played an NFC North home game. Jordan Love may not be 100% for this game. In fact, I would say if I was a betting person, I'd be putting a lot of Mountain Dew into the middle of the table saying, yes, he's probably not going to be 90%. He might only be 80%. He's going to somewhere be between probably 80 and 90%. But that doesn't mean he can't throw the ball. That doesn't mean he can't read defenses. That doesn't mean he can't make plays with his arms. He may just not be making them with his legs. We'll have to wait and see on that. Jair Alexander also is going to be a little limited. Same with maybe Jacobs, the running back. We'll find out more probably today and tomorrow when the injury reports come out. Detroit Lions are going to come into this game fairly healthy, other than maybe Malcolm Rodriguez could miss this game. Unless there's somebody else that pops up on the list, they all should be good to go for Detroit. Detroit does not currently have any new help on the defensive line to get after the quarterback. But it doesn't mean some of the guys that were out there last week didn't have some decent performances. James Houston, you guys all know it. I'm a homer for the guy. I really think he's got potential. He actually didn't do bad in his 19 snaps. I did go back and watch the game, and I've got him with 4 pressures on 19 snaps. That's pretty dang good. Muhammad, I thought, came through in a big way, and I would not be surprised if he gets an increased workload on a week-to-week basis, may become one of our more permanent rotational guys in the end mix. Isaiah Thomas, hey, not a bad debut either with the Detroit Lions, and this kid is very athletic. I won't say he's quite like James Houston, but maybe very athletic in a different way and gives us a whole lot. Levi Onwuzurike, my big thought with him is he will become a starter at defensive end for the Detroit Lions probably the rest of this year. And beyond that, who knows? He's got power, he's got size, and he's got a ton of size. And he is fairly athletic. He's got some speed. And to think this guy is a defensive tackle or DTI most of the time, that's insane amount of speed that he has and agility that they're now going to use at the defensive end to help set that edge and not allow teams to really run on the outside wherever he may be. That gives them, if they do go with Reader, they've got Reader, DJ Reader, excuse me, they got I'm all messed up here. Levi Onwuzurike, thank you. Reader and Lee McNeil all next to each other. That's a massive wall to try to go behind. And sorry that I got messed up there with the Levi Onwuzurike stuff, but hopefully you guys knew what I was talking about. But at any rate, and now you go at the linebacker core, Jack Campbell, Alex Anzalone, you know what? They're playing pretty dang good. Now, Trevor Nowaski, along with Rodrigo, I think we're going to be fine there in time, and maybe even Ben Newman gets a little bit of run here and there. The secondary is improving on a week-to-week basis, in my opinion, and doing a pretty good job. But what say you guys? This is a big game. What do you think the Lions need to do to win this game? We can all Scooby-Doo it. We can all watch film. We can all talk about the Packers' strengths and weaknesses. But in my opinion, this is going to be a tough game. I'm not going to give you my score predictions or anything like that. I'm not going to do a complete breakdown today. I'm going to save all that stuff for Friday, as you guys know. But I do think the Lions' offense will be the key to the game. Sort of like the last 2 games. If they go out there and score a bunch, you know what? You put the other team's offense in a very, very predictable situation, which now aids this Lions defense, which isn't the greatest of all time. It's much improved over a year ago, but they're going to have to get creative in finding ways to limit quarterbacks from having 5, 6, 8 seconds. Otherwise, every defense in the secondary is going to get picked apart. All right, I've babbled on enough with all this stuff. If you guys have any thoughts on the big game this weekend or on some of the topics from 5 Headlines Now or other topics, go ahead and throw them in the comment section. Again, Sorry that I got Levi Onwuzurike mixed up there with some other names there for a second. So it happens, man. It happens, especially when you haven't had your morning Mountain Dew. All right, we do have a special guest in about 15 minutes, by the way. Hutch Jr. is going to jump on in here, but let's get to the Dew Crew, see what you guys have to say. Broski Bear, I am Broski with the Moski. Good to see you back, my friend, as always. Hardy, Hail Mary morning to you, Broski Bear. We will see. Hardy, be right back. All right. Bruin Run, good morning from the tip of the mitten. Come on already. Make a trade. The suspense is killing me, Bruin Run. Hey, I think you're like everybody else. Everybody's glued to their, whatever phones or whatever, trying to get some sort of update. There's a lot of speculation, but I would say I could be completely wrong by this, but if we don't have a trade in place by tomorrow, it's probably not happening this week. And now the question then becomes, does it happen Monday? We'll have to wait and see. All right, Bo, good morning, Dew Crew. Take control of your destiny, exclamation point. I see Super Bowl. Woo! And good morning to you, too. Jason, no way, exclamation point. Broski, question mark. The real Broski? I don't know. Well, I guess we'll have to wait and see. Jason, by the way, is anyone else going to the game Sunday? Question mark. I will be near the 20-yard line on the Lions side with views of the big board. Well, we'll let you know. Yeah, guys, just throw it in the comment section. Man Bear, good morning. Dana Rue and the Scooby-Doo crew, back at you. Hopefully it is a phenomenal start to your day, my friend. Trey Tipson, what's good, everybody? Question mark. Any word if Love goes this weekend? Nothing official, but if he's out there throwing today, if he's out there going through everything, I'd say that's probably a pretty good sign, unless he has some sort of setback this week. But let's also keep one thing in mind. The Packers, when Malik Willis plays, they haven't lost the game this year. And they've only lost really when Jordan Love under center. Now, I get that's probably just, one of those strange coincidences, but Malik Willis, he does have some stuff that has helped out this team. Mike the Marine Gunny, howdy, Dan and Dew Crew. Hump day, woo, woo, and hopefully you're having a good one, Gunny. JK, or is it J-I-K, excuse me. Other teams are making trades. Come on, Detroit, get something done, exclamation point. Could be they do something, could be they don't. I don't know, man. I'm really surprised on the trade front that they haven't done something by this point. Now, it could be like last year. They do something really on the trade deadline day. But if they're waiting that long, I just wonder what the reasoning would be why you would wait so long. I don't know. We'll see. Johnny L., good morning, you awesome people. And back at you, Johnny. What do you got? Cha him. All right. Number 3, thumbs up. I'm down with that. I'd say Clark. Yo, what is going on, Dew Crew family? Question mark. Hey, coach, any chance do we make a trade? Question mark. I see the Vikings got a new tackle. Yeah, they did. And, hey, talk about Jacksonville. Jacksonville's got some parts. They're letting go of parts more and more. If I'm Detroit Lions, I would probably try to make a trade there and with Cleveland. If you could get Walker and Smith, I think you're now pretty dang solid. If you didn't want to go over the top and get Garrett or something like that, really top of the line, big name guy, that's where I would probably go with things. And that does seem like more of a Brad Holmes situation, if you ask me. Brent, good morning. Dan and Dew Crew. Let's get another win Sunday and stay on top of the NFC. Oh, yeah. And good morning to you too, Brent, by the way. Nice new photo, by the way. Dennis, good morning. Dan and Dew Crew. Same to you, my friend. Man Bear, Will, the real Broski Bear, please stand up. Please stand up. Please stand up. 100%, my friend. Let's see. Matthew, greetings and salutations. Good morning, everyone. Superdome, Super Bowl, woo, woo, woo. Sheila likes to, woo, in her fresh morning dew. How about us, Sheila? Woo. All right, you ask, ye shall receive. And there you go. All right, Big Eddie, great. Yes, sir, exclamation point. Winning Sunday would put this team in a real nice place for the second half of the season. Yeah, 100% there, 100% there, because if they do get the win, you're 2-0 in the division. You've given each of your biggest threats, and not that the Bears aren't a threat. I just think the Packers and Vikings probably ultimately at the end of the day a little bit bigger threats. You've given both of them losses at home, and you're putting more pressure on everybody else in the NFC to try to keep up with you. Anything can still happen. It is a long season, but yes, I agree with you. Bo Leaf is on with the St. Brown brothers right now. Oh, yeah. Nice to see him getting his dues. Man, that kid had a phenomenal day. I think we all get that last Sunday. He was just, whatever Mountain Dew he drank, he should be bottling and selling because, man, he was just en fuego that day. Dennis, Can't wait until Sunday. No, man, it'll be here sooner than later. But yes, it's going to be a big game. Big game. Moonscar, let's see. Good morning. Duke Crew starting lineup. Back at you. Hopefully having a great morning, my friend, as always. Darcy, so Coach Dan, do you think at this point we do not make a trade? Good morning, all. I would say with every day that passes, every hour that passes, it seems less likely. And I don't know the entire Detroit Lions draft stock because they did trade some away from during last year's draft for this draft. So maybe that's playing a part. Everything I do have for you guys, I've kind of given to you already, but just to kind of summarize, I think the number one contender are the Cleveland Browns, although I guess you could make an argument that Jags could be emerging or whatever. I think the big sticking point is still, from all I know, it's still the Lions don't want to give up Hendon Hooker, and they don't want to give up the second round pick. So, until somebody budges one way or the other, you gotta stand off there. All right, Robert Gritty's one and all, back at you. Bo, stand and deliver. Foo, wada. All right, I'll go with that, broski. All right, I'll go with that. Quada, broski. All right, Robert Jason, will you be wearing your fuzzy Lions jammies with the feet on the 20-yard line? Let's see what he does. Let us know your wardrobe lineup, Jason. Stephanie, good morning, boys! Exclamation point. I hope we blitz and hit Love all game long! Exclamation point. He can't run right now, so get after him. Yeah, and that's kind of what I would be thinking. I would do everything I could to force him to roll out across against the grain. So I would over blitz basically his left side, force him to roll to his force him to roll to his left, where he has to use that right arm and throw it across his body. Just put as much stress on that groin muscle as you can consistently throughout the game. Now, Lions take control of the North. Book them, Dano. It's done. Booked. And good morning to you too, Dennis. France, good day all. Feels like we're going all on pins and needles waiting for something to happen. Yeah, I think that's 100% right, especially when you see more and more teams in the NFL making trades and your team isn't. Man, just kind of builds up the anxiety. Jason, steady rain in Green Bay Sunday. Gibbs and Monty will earn their keep. I'll be wearing my raincoat for this one, for this win. Superdome or bust, 100%. And yes, you are correct. The weather more than likely, unless something changes, is going to play a factor. But you know what? Keeping it on the ground, that's probably going to aid the Detroit Lions. Passing maybe a little bit less. We'll see how bad the rain is. Robert, Hatman rules, broski rules. I'm down with that. All right, okay. Good morning, Dan and the Duke Crew. One Pride, Detroit. Time to eat up some cheddar heads. Oh, yeah, I'm down with that. I am down with that indeed. Moonscar, guys, that is fake, broski. All right, well, hey, now we know it. Knowing is half the battle. Michael D, greetings and salutations, Coach and Duke Crew. Exclamation points. Superdome, Super Bowl, One Pride. Woo, woo. And good morning to you too, Michael. Rich, I would like to address this latest JMO stuff. What he is doing is hurting the team and his teammates. We are trying to win a Super Bowl. When he does this stuff, it's not helping. Grow up, please. Yeah, I mean, he's definitely been in the, Rich, you're 100% right. He's definitely been in the news and not in a positive way the last couple weeks. Without knowing the full details about why he was suspended, what we can all say is him, being on the sideline doesn't help the team, where being on the field does help the team. When in regards to this newest thing, like I said yesterday, my only question is, why is it being leaked out now, or the information passed out now 3 weeks after when it happened? Is there an agenda at play? Why now does ESPN report it? And let's be fair, if Dave Burkett and, Sean Windsor and a bunch of the other guys, the old school guys in the Detroit media, come out and say, man, everybody in the media here in Detroit knew about this 2 to 3 weeks ago, and we thought it was a nothing burger. Why now does ESPN, CNN, and everybody else jump on it? Because you can't tell me the Detroit-based media gets information and ESPN, Adam Scheffler, doesn't have it within minutes or hours. So it just seems odd to me, but maybe there's aspects I still don't know or am aware of. All right, Don Broski, back from the dead. He saw the JMO new figure, and that sounds overshadowed his Hail Mary. Yeah, the news overshadowed his Hail Mary. That might be. Would, correct. I'm down with you. Yeah, it took me a second. Sorry, Donnie. Let's see, Robert. Love Hurts. Love Hurts sounds like a song. It does indeed, my friend. 100%. Moonscar. It's a fake account, Don. All right, it could be. Trump, good morning, Bear, and glad you're back. Everyone missed you. A thumbs up. Okay. Lions Talk Lion fan. Green Bay are not the Titans. DDD. Yeah, they are not the Titans. They will be a much better game. At least I would think. Don Burr, questioning. Okay. Broski Bear. Moonscar Blade, I am the real Broski. Exclamation point. I can prove it by letting you know the Lions are the best team in the NFC North, and the Bears will still beat your team unless you throw a Hail Mary on us. We will see. Maybe we'll just have to drop back and do that all game long. Papa Noel, good morning to all. Back at you. Hookadoo, Don Burr, Moonscar said it's the fake Broski. All right, we'll see. Don Burr, getting a defensive end on Wednesday. The player acquired probably would play Sunday anyways. Yeah, if you could get them in here today, you're right. Especially if they still make practice. But even if they don't, you still have Thursday and Friday to kind of acclimate them. At the defensive end spot, I think it would be a little bit easier than, say, bringing a quarterback or someone who's got to go through a bunch of reads. That position should be a little bit easier for them to digest, and especially if it's just on a rotational aspect. Bo Knuckles is going to drag a few pianos over the goal line. Might be indeed. Be a good day for it. Let's see, Trumps, they don't want you to carry a gun, but they want you to leave our borders. Okay, yep, not doing that. No. Let's see, Don, that's the real Broski. He took 2 days off. He was in a coma after the Hail Mary. That might be. Let's see, Moonscar, fake Broski, nice try. There you go. Lions Talk Live fan. JMO is fine. Just a bunch of media hype. It just seems oddly timed to me. It doesn't mean there's not any validity to it. Just my personal opinion. You can have your own. It feels like this close to the election, and especially with some of those elected officials over in the Detroit area. Why now revisit this 3 weeks later? I don't know, man. It seems odd. How about that? It just seems odd. Broski, Washington cheated? Maybe they did. They cheated to win, though. Don, Moonscar, that's the real one? Could be. John King, good morning, coach and crew. Look forward to this game. We should win, take over the division. We will. It would be, it doesn't mean you obviously lock up the division at this point, but you're going to make it real hard for somebody else to come back and get you. So there are a lot of things at that point we're going to have to start lining up for either Minnesota or Green Bay to come back. But Green Bay, they get this loss, man. That's what, now they're third or something like that? Yeah, it's just, it starts setting up bad for them. Broski, Williams should run for a governmental office in Detroit. Maybe he will. Maybe that's it. Maybe it's a marketing campaign. I like the way you're thinking. Quentin, Green Sanitations, free JMO. I think there's a lot more of that sentiment. Trump's, JMO is now my favorite Lion. All right, we'll go with that. Don Broski, you think the JMO news gonna overshadow people ripping you on the Hail Mary? You had to wait until something happened to take the heat off you. Well, that also could be true. I didn't think about that part, but yeah, maybe. Rocky, or Coach Rock, I should say. Good morning, all. It's a busy time getting team ready for the playoffs this weekend, but it sure is fun. We'll go enjoy it, man, and good luck to you guys in the playoffs. We'll be cheering you guys on. Hey, man, good morning, all. Back at you. Johnny L, leave JMO alone, dang it. Well, I'll go with that. Moonscar, shake my head. I can see the account credentials. That is not him. All right, fair enough. This is crazy. All right, Bo, phrase skipper, exclamation point. Unleash the beast and report. Yes, maybe they'll put him out at the X wide receiver. Voltron, Green Sanitations, after watching the video on his stop, I just don't think Williams thing is a big deal. Sounds like the local police chief is upset he was let go. That is all. Yeah, I would agree. I know you can see the video. Obviously, they contact all the people in the chain of command or whatever you want to say. It does sound like at one point they're going to take him in, but then one of the higher ups does call in and say, hey, given the situation, we're going to let him go. Let him, it's not that big a deal. I'm paraphrasing there. That's not a direct quote. So what changed in the last 3 weeks? I don't know. Don, my brother-in-law is a Detroit police officer, said JMO will be just fine, but the league might try to suspend him. Yeah. And, I guess it is totally true. They could try to do that, and we'll have to wait and see if that does happen. Broski, you should cut Williams. I think he could fit in here in Chicago. I'm guessing if the Lions moved on from him, they would be aware a lot of teams would be after him in a heartbeat. Bo, good luck with your team. Rocky, yeah, 100%. Good luck in the playoffs there, Coach Rock. Robert, does anybody else notice that the fake Broski is so much nicer than the real Broski? Well, there we go. Broski, let's see, Broski 2028. Well, start your campaign now, my friend. Jedi, good morning, Duke Crew. Back at you. Bo, Leaf meditates good times coming. All right, we'll go with that. Johnny L, Sonic and Knuckles, Thunder and Lightning will destroy the NFL world. I like the way you're thinking. So, Smo, Woo! Team JMO, there you go. Trump's, nice job deleting my post. Okay, I guess I don't know. All right, Johnny L, 2028, we'll go with that. Trump, and censor over vote for them. There's no censorism, but when you go into a church and you start screaming about the devil, they're probably not going to sit well with anybody there. I don't go into weddings and start screaming about divorce settings and be a divorce attorney. So you're in this channel, you know the rules. You've been here long enough, man. Just don't talk politics. That's all I got. And so otherwise you're fine, man. David, good morning. Same to you. Mr. Nico, if the Lions don't make it this year with Ben Johnson and AG, do you think we can make it without them next year? Yeah, it's totally possible. It just really depends on who you put in those spots. All right, guys, let's get over to our special guest of the day. So 1 second, please, and let's bring on Hutch Jr. Hutch Jr., how you doing this morning, sir?
What's up, fellas? Good morning.
Hey, it's always a beautiful day to be a Lions fan, especially when it's the week leading into the Green Bay Packers game, or Green Bay Packers game. But let's start off with a couple things, because obviously we got a little bit of news yesterday. Jameson Williams, you probably have you had time to see the video? Let's start with that.
Yeah. I caught it right when it came out. So
tell me, what are your thoughts on this? Because it does seem like 3 weeks ago, the team knew about it. Detroit media knew about it. We're all speculating whether or not national media knew about it. But why now do you think all of a sudden this has become a lightning rod topic after 3 weeks?
Yeah, that's what I don't understand about the whole situation. It sounds like all the stipulations were covered, at least from the Detroit Lions and the NFL standpoint. The pistol was registered under JMO. His brother was in the car who has a CPL. Both pistols in the car were registered under both individuals. And actually, shout out to Crunch Time Sports. They had Wade Fink on last night, and I was tuning in to them. And he is a defense attorney in the state of Michigan, so he got on there and he was talking about it. And it sounds like this could have been just left alone, done. It didn't need to be brought up, and we could have just went about our business. But with this now news reporter bringing this out and causing things for JMO. It just sounds like this news reporter needed a click and he got it, and just kind of kicking someone while they're down right now. Do I think anything comes out of it? I don't think so, just because I think it was made aware by the team, the NFL, whatever. I think it's more or less like an internal investigation, like, hey, was there favoritism? And I think that's what the news reporter was trying to do. Like, hey, JMO got favoritism, that's why he didn't get charged. And for what Wade Fink said on this thing last night, police have the discretion to basically make judgments of whether or not we should arrest this guy or go farther with it. And they made a discretion like, hey, we don't think this guy's a threat. Everything's legal in our eyes. And they made the channels and proper, kind of went about it. It just sucks, man, because, everyone, knows JMO's this. Everyone puts a tag on this JMO guy, man, and it just sucks. I think he's all right. We'll see him in Houston. I don't think anything comes out of it. I hope nothing comes out of it. But if I'm JMO, I am going to be very careful at what I do from now on. And I think when Brad made that presser about JMO messed up, he knows what he did, you got to pay for your sins. I think this was along with what he was saying. So it's just one of those things, man. It sucks because, like I said, the gambling issue, that was never a gambling issue. The PES issue, which we know probably wasn't even a PES issue. And now you got this. It's just one of those things. It's like a trending topic right now. And it's just leave the man alone. Let him play ball. He's a kid. Unfortunately, he's going to have to mature quick because in the NFL, man, you don't get much time. You get one or two incidents and, your whole career could crumble within you. So, yeah, man, I hope JMO's all right, man. I'm wishing him the best to stay in, mind, spirits, and just get back to playing ball, man. We got you.
All right, let's move on because I know you're aware of this, but Kirby Joseph last night hosts Instagram, party or whatever, a live chat, and he's kind of messing with fans left and right about, hey, maybe we're requiring this guy. He's being kind of secretive with it. Did you have an opportunity to watch that?
No, I didn't. I caught it this morning. Actually, someone sent it to me and said, what do you think? And I'm sitting there typing in my phone. I'm trying to do this division math, whatever it was, 9 + 3 = 2 divided by 0, whatever it was. And I'm like, well, that's like a division error if I'm reminding. So maybe it's an infinity. Maybe we're trading for Max Crosby. Maybe we're trading for Myles Garrett. But give the credit to the Lions, man. They love trolling. They don't leak their hand, man. Dan Campbell first, now Kirby. I feel like there's something in the works that we just don't know about. And now with the Jags selling that offensive tackle to the Vikings, it makes it a little more interesting to see if the Jags will come off one of those, either Trayvon or Josh Allen Hines. But yeah, it's just funny, man. It's like we have a whole team of trolls and like no one will leak their hand. Give them all credit. Dan Campbell's got these guys locked in tight. So we'll see what comes out of it, if anything comes out of it. But it was just funny that all this stuff was going down with Campbell, and now Kirby's on IG Live trolling. So
yeah, it's just and I think that's what caught everybody off guard with Dan Campbell. If you take him now at his face value, where he's never done that really before with media or fans, where he's kind of like made it think one way where really he's going a different direction. He's usually been pretty straightforward on injuries or anything in front of the mic. So for him to kind of reverse ship, that's caught us off guard. I wouldn't be surprised if, a few months from now or maybe after the season, we find out that, yes, he was really excited, but, Brad Holmes or somebody said, hey, we don't have anything finalized. Don't give this team leverage where they could demand more now from us. So maybe that's what he did. Ultimately, at the end of the day, none of us are going to know until it happens. But if I know everybody loves the trade talk, I don't mind talking about it. But let's talk real quick about something else. Let's talk about Christian Mahogany. What are your thoughts on it? I know I started the show off by saying the fact that this kid missed all of training camp and, a first month or something like that of the season, and he's still going to make the 53-man roster after just a couple weeks of evaluation. In your opinion, how talented is this kid?
This kid's got to be super talented. And, that was one of the things. I didn't get to watch him, obviously, during training camp and things like that because he was dealing with a lot of stuff. But for this man to come in so late, sit through film, and if I remember right, I don't even think he went through like just the off-season workouts, things like that. I think it was just like, hey, he had stuff going on. We got to put him on the NFL PI, whatever. And then, we'll figure it out. This guy must be doing something that is just astronomical. I'm wondering too, just because of the last couple games, the way Decker's just kind of been not great. I wonder what they're going to do, because maybe this is just an additional piece. Like, hey, if for whatever reason we need to substitute this guy in, maybe he can do work. And I was talking about it with a bunch of people. This would be something where maybe they move Panay to the left side to cover Goff's blind side and put Mahogany at right. And then you can kind of put Decker next to Panay, or you can put Decker next to, Mahogany. So, yeah, I mean, the fact that this guy's, and we might even, who knows, we might even see him this weekend. With him being activated, we don't know whether he's going to play this weekend or not. If he does, this guy's way ahead of schedule than I originally thought. And he's a massive human being. What is he, like 6'5", 6'6", 6'7", somewhere in there? So, I mean, everyone, that was my big thing, with Ragnow being, who knows, quote unquote, at the end of his career with these injuries. That could be a big piece for our line and give us, an option to see, okay, hey, do we need to draft an O-line this offseason, or do we just roll with Mahogany and go elsewhere?
Right. All right. So let's talk about trades, because, everybody loves a good trade talk. Everybody loves to, think about this, that, the other thing. There's just no denying it. If you in print media or whatever media, people tune in for trade talk and speculation. So if the Lions were to make a trade, where do you think they should go, and what do you think they should try to acquire in these next 6 days?
I think they've made it very clear they want a DN that fits their mold. Obviously, I was one of the ones, as a joke, I was like, oh, man, we didn't get Josh Uche. But I think with the emergence of Nowinski, I think they kind of shut down the Sam linebacker, kind of like, hey, we got a piece. We know what we need. But I think they're being very particular what they want. I think they want a big DN that can stop the run, that can fit their mold. And maybe they can probably bring him back next year on a cheap contract and not have Hutch just kind of rush himself along. Obviously, my dream would be Zadarius Smith. Obviously, the big dreams are Max Crosby, Myles Garrett. As most of us know, that's been shut down allegedly, but everyone's available for a price. I don't want to hear these guys aren't available. You walk into a GM's office and offer him 3 first-round picks, they'd be dumb not to take it. I'm not saying that's what Brad Holmes is doing, but whatever. So Darius Smith would be one. I would not mind either Harold Landry or Key from the Titans. Obviously, Jeffrey Simmons would be my high availability, but I don't think he's going to be available. And then you go to the Jags and you look at Josh Allen Hines and Trayvon Walker. I think they probably wouldn't move Trayvon Walker just because of the flexibility that they got him on his rookie contract. Who knows? Like I said, everyone's available for a price. And, we'll see. We'll see if Brad Holmes makes something. But I've been one to criticize if Brad Holmes is scared to make a trade or not. And I got a lot of flack over it on Twitter yesterday. I'm like, is our GM just scared to make a trade for whatever reason? I have my reasons why I think he should just push these chips in and go. Some people was like, hey, you're not the GM. I'm right. I'm not the GM. But at some point, you got to be a GM and make a trade.
Well, here's my thought, too. If the Lions go into Green Bay this weekend and they get the win, really what are we saying now about this team? Because they have gone 3-0 since Hutch obviously went down. The Green Bay Packers are they may not be the biggest competition to the Lions in the North, but they're up there. If they're not the number one competition, they're number 1 or number 2. So if you're able to beat a team like that on their home field, does this just mean, hey, what Dan Campbell and Aaron Glenn have kind of said, hey, we're going to figure a way out to make this work with the guys that we have? Maybe they really don't feel like they need to go out and get anybody else.
No, yeah, and that's the thing too. I mean, a lot of people don't realize, hey, we're 2-0 without Hutch. I know Muhammad had a great game, so that's a piece, and we'll figure it out from there. But it's just it's hard for me. Just the only reason why I say that I think we need to make one is when you start getting into these teams like Kansas City, like the Ravens, like the Eagles, some of these bigger teams, you're gonna have to get pressure on these quarterbacks, or they're gonna kill you. I mean, you look at the Ravens. We all know Lamar is a hell of he can escape the pocket and run. You're going to have to collapse the pocket. You're going to have to stop them. Mahomes is Mahomes, and Jalen Hurts and Saquon are quite a 1-2 punch right now. I don't think the Lions have the best offense in the league. There's no debating that. But the thing is can they sustain 45 points a game? The answer probably to that is no. So when you get in the playoffs, you're going to have your 21-23 shootouts, and your defense is going to have to come up and make a stop. I would like to see us maybe just get a little pressure on that where our DBs don't have to cover as long downfield. Because you saw it. There was times in that Titans game where Mason Rudolph was carving us up pretty good. And that's a problem. That's a problem for me when a quarterback he's a veteran. He knows how to play football. But that game I don't think they should have scored 7 points on us. We should have probably just beat them down. Obviously we did. But, that's my only thing, man. It's hard for me to sit here and say, hey, we're a Super Bowl favorites, but we can't generate pressure. And they've always said, we can generate pressure other ways. I get it. But you're also taking these linebackers out of their position now, and these quarterbacks are going to read it. So it's hard for me to sit here and just say, all right, Brad Holmes, be patient, because if you let other teams like the Vikings, the Green Bay Packers, the Chiefs, the Ravens steal these players from you, they're getting better and you did nothing, then your Super Bowl aspirations is just this year, just like, whatever.
So let's move on from that. Now let's talk about just the game a little bit. Where do you think the Green Bay Packers, or what do you think the Green Bay Packers can do to try to make this a close game? Because, they do have a bit of an offense. They got a bit of a D, but where do you think they're going to try to hit us on both sides of the ball?
That's a good question. I think they're really good with Josh Jacobs. And I think that's why we stack up against them so well. I've said it probably even in the offseason. I think we stack up against the Green Bay Packers the best in the NFC North just because of what they have. They kind of have a stout running back. They got 2 okay wide receivers in Watson and Dobbs, and then you have Jaden Reed. Anyone knows Jaden Reed's a monster. They're going to probably use him a lot more because they know we're going to attend to Dobbs and Watson. Depending on if Love plays or not, that's going to be the key. I think if Love plays, depending on if he can scramble or not, he makes a lot of plays with his legs, things like that. He also makes some dangerous throws. I watched him play the Houston game, and he was throwing some passes between some linebackers. I was like, man, this guy's got some balls on him to throw that pass. But against good defenses, you're not going to get that play. So he's made some mistakes. I'm just interested. I think if you generate pressure on these guys and you get to them, I think Jordan Love, we've seen, like, he's leading the league in interceptions right now. So he's a great player, but he makes mistakes. So if you can get Jordan Love to make some mistakes, I think that's where the Lions can capitalize with our offense and just kind of control the game.
All right, one last thing. Let's talk about the Jared Goff's on a historic pace, what he's doing so far this season. The first two games, I think we'd all agree, hey, the Lions didn't play in the preseason, whatever it is, just trying to figure out some things with the offense. Didn't look sharp. A lot of people even were starting to get on that bandwagon. We shouldn't have paid this guy. But since that second week, the Tampa Bay game, you've seen a steady diet of him just putting up some historic results. Where do you think Jared Goff ends up this year? Do you think he's going to be in one of the front runners for the MVP? And if you're another team trying to stop him, what can you do?
Yeah, I mean, I think that was one of the things. You look at the Tampa Bay game, we had him drop back, 45 times, I think. And that outside of that, he's been immaculate. And if you look at what they were talking about coming into that Minnesota game, it was the Brian Flores defense versus the Jared Goff read blitz offense. And if you look at it, CJ Stroud didn't know how to control it, and some of these other quarterbacks didn't know how to control it, and Jared Goff diced it immediately. So that's my thing with Jared Goff, man. He's playing at a high elite level. He's got trust in his receivers, the emergence of Tim Patrick. Now you have these dual quarterbacks. And if you would have went in that game against the Titans and told me he was going to have 85 yards and 3 touchdowns, I probably would have told you you're crazy. Like, I expected Jared Goff in that game to probably go for 250, a couple touchdowns from St. Brown, a couple touchdowns from our wide receivers. And he had 85 yards. And I'm like, man, this is crazy. It was a weird game. But yeah, I mean, to me, Jared Goff, outside of Lamar Jackson, is second in my eyes in MVP. Mahomes isn't having a great year, but he's winning football games. His defense is keeping him in. He's having great games. When he needs to make a touchdown, he's making a touchdown. Lamar, just because I think he's more flashy in his escapability, his running ability, I think he's probably the front runner from MVP. I think Jared Goff would have to have a huge game and win it, like against Texas. Let's say he goes out, throws for 350, 4 touchdowns. Everyone's like, okay, now we need to talk about this guy. I think he's been I think he's been mentioned, but people are like, he plays for Detroit. He's not flashy. He gets the job done. He's a game manager. If he goes out there against Houston, he beats CJ Stroud on the night game, then we're talking a whole different story. But yeah, it was weird, man, because everyone's like, oh, is this guy even going to be worth the contract? He's been shipped off from LA to us, and he's been nothing but immaculate outside of one game. I couldn't ask for a better thing. I know my biggest thing was just, hey, we should have won that Tampa Bay game. We shouldn't have had him drop back 45 times, and now you see it.
Right. And just one last thing, and not to say anything to do with anything, but I've got a buddy of mine. He's not a golf lover, we'll put it that way. He loves the Lions, bleeds, the blue and all that stuff, but he constantly brings up, this about golf or that about golf. So his big thing this weekend was, well, golf only had, 85 yards passing or whatever it was. I was like, so wait a minute, you're a football coach, and you would rather that the special teams don't have 200 yards returning. The defense doesn't return punts fumbles and interceptions back for yards, and constantly set the offense for limited fields to work with. But your big complaint about the guys that he only threw for 85, I was like, I don't know what to do, man. But all right, we'll get you on here, man. You've been on here for a bit, so Hutch Jr., why don't you go ahead and give yourself a shout out, tell everybody where to find you and your great work, and thanks once again for being on.
No, thanks for having me, guys. You can find me on Twitter at the only Hutch Jr. I'm always on there interacting with fans, things like that. You can also find me on Catch My Vibe Radio, podcast coming soon, along with great music. We have a bunch of things going on over there, and that's based out of Jackson. And then the main one, you can just find me on here with Dan and the Do Crew, man. We're trying to rise this thing up. Make sure you hit the like, share the stream, and we'll get you the news when we get the news. But outside of that, go Lions. Let's beat Green Bay, and then go beat Houston.
All right, let's do it. And then hopefully, we give Green Bay the Detroit hangover so they can lose a second straight game. So, all right, go enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks, Hutch Jr. We'll see you on the next Lions Talk Live.
Thanks for having me, Dan.
We'll see you now. All right, guys, we got about 10 minutes. Let's get back to the comments section. Josh, who can we get to today for the trade deadline? You guys have heard my thoughts. I think it's still the most likely scenario is going to be the Cleveland scenario. Now, if you were to ask me for my personal opinion, I would go for Walker from the Jags and then Smith from Cleveland, because I think you can keep your costs down. You'll end up keeping your first and second round pick. You can get them, I'm assuming, for some lower value picks. And from there, I think the Detroit Lions D would be pretty dang good. Now, whether or not they can make that happen, we're all going to have to wait and see. All balls, no D. Let's see, 237 in the house. Let's get 100% likes, 100 likes. So we'll go with that. Yeah, I showed that we've got a little over 1,500 people watching. So if everybody could just take a half second time, reach on down, hit that thumbs up button, that like button, I surely would be thankful. All right, Matty B, JMO isn't a gangbanger. He has a right to protect himself in a rough neighborhood. Yeah, I would say, I don't know the kid personally. He seems like a good kid. Could he make some better decisions in a few spots? Yes, 100%. I would say if I'm the Lions at this point, I probably would, probably have somebody try to help him out a little bit there, sort of like a mentor or whatever. Maybe again, a couple of the veteran players. And I do think if you go back and we'll see when he was drafted to where he is now, he has matured quite a bit. But it's obviously been an unfortunate few weeks for him. And, hopefully you can just get him through it. If you don't have another situation arise in the next year or so, they probably are going to re-sign him. But every time a new situation pops up, that's going to draw some red flags for sure. I drop J.J. Watt, 17 sacks in 22. Yeah, I think that is correct. Ryan, stronger our secondary, better the pass rush. That's probably true. Yeah, the faster you get to the quarterback, the easier it will be to play in the secondary. All balls, 4 more guys and gals. Okay, let's go with it. Keep them on coming. Dimitri, haters, stop talking about JMO. We good? 100%, man, 100%. Let's see what shakes out. I don't know. The more this thing kind of pops up, the more I kind of just feel like somebody over in Detroit is trying to make a little bit of a name for himself, whether it's WXYZ in Detroit, whether it's somebody in the Detroit police department just trying to, rally a cause or something. I don't know, man. It doesn't seem like it was anything overly egregious. Let's see, all balls, no D. Awesome. I'll go with that. Let's see, 101. Nice. Keep them on coming. And thanks for that, guys. Trump's all right, All right, all balls. If Brad thinks we don't need anything, we all can complain all we want. Not going to change anything. He has to deal with the decision. 100%. Yeah. End of the day, it's all going to go through him, and he's going to ride or die with whatever he feels. At this point with the franchise, I think we all get it. He's done a pretty phenomenal job, resurrecting this franchise from where it was. Him, MCDC, in the group. So if he says, hey, we don't need anybody, then I'm going to go with it. Let's see, Trump's that one unarmed you. Okay, yes, all right. No politics here, please. All right, silent service until the ban, the Second Amendment. Okay, yeah. Oh wait. JMO's brother had a CPL. His brother can transport his and his brother's guns. Okay, and maybe that's why they let him go. And I'm not privy about all the laws about that stuff, so I'm just I'm a layman in that regard. So I'm gonna defer to other people's wisdom on that. See, Bo, Drake, a good point. I can see teams jacking up the price on us. And I think, all you guys are pretty spot on with that. I do believe there are some teams that are probably trying to push us, the asking price on their players up with us because they know we have a big need. I don't know the full details of the tackle from the Jags going over to Minnesota, but I'm guessing Minnesota needed, as we all know, a left tackle now, and they probably had to pay a little bit more for it. But again, I don't know the full details of that trade. I didn't pay attention. Trump, per the Constitution, JMO can transport his own gun. Okay, there we go. I wouldn't know. If we make it to the Super Bowl without Hutch and without a trade, I like our chances, especially if Hutch is ready for the Super Bowl. Woo! Yeah, and if he might be, I know there's been 20 different doctors, probably more than that have speculated whether or not Hutch can come back for the Super Bowl or maybe even the NFC Championship game. So let that sink in. If you're the Detroit Lions, if you end up being the number 1 seed, you've got to win one playoff game in that scenario for really Hutch to be back in the playoffs. So wait and see what shakes out. Dimitri, Dan, you have the greatest show on YouTube. Hey, thanks for that, man. And woo! And woo for you. And thank you for that very much. All balls. JMO doesn't have a CPL. He does have one, just not in Michigan. Okay, fair enough. Good enough. Trump's, the Michigan law goes against your constitutional rights. All right. All balls, he might have thought it was good in every state. Maybe. Yeah, and I don't know. JK need a license to get through and learn to conceal a weapon, etc. Okay. Silent service. I have a Washington CPL and I can legally carry back home in Michigan. All right. Yeah, that is good to know. Derek, if we don't make a trade for a pass rusher and we don't make it to the Super Bowl, with all the torches and pitchforks come out? Probably, yeah. Anytime you make a choice, if it doesn't work out, people are going to come after you. I mean, that's life in any profession, not just coaching or being a general manager. Trump's under Republican leadership. We would okay. All right, let's keep. Yep. All right, Dr. Detroit. And if they lose, man, if we don't make a trade and we lose, yeah, you're going to see the boo birds flying around. All balls. There's an open carry law here in Michigan. Okay. Bo, Michigan has an open carry law. Okay. Let's see. Dr. Detroit, guys, I worked in Detroit for 30 years. The cops here, as long as you weren't creating problems, they will let you go. And that's, I can't speak for everywhere in the United States, let alone Michigan. But I've typically found, not always, but I've typically found if a lot of people are let go if you're not really a problem. That hasn't always been the case with me, but hey, sometimes things don't go your way. Let's see, Hookadoo, I'm thinking Love aggravates the groin injury early and leaves the game. Maybe. Let's hope they give 99% of the snaps this week to Jordan Love. They're not going to do that given his injury, but I'm hoping they do. So if Malik has to come in, he's just less prepared. Detroit, cops in Detroit aren't ticky-tacky for anybody, just not just star wide receivers. This is BS. Nobody, anybody who doesn't work in Detroit or live in Detroit does not get this. So yeah, probably spot on with that, Dr. D or Dr. Detroit. All balls, I can strap my Kimber on and walk around town with no worries. All right. Josh, any breaking news on Lions? None that I have right now. Let's see. Sarge, Brett Favre has Parkinson's disease. I think I saw something about that. Yeah, it's unfortunate for him, man. Sorry for him and his family. Trump's, he should do a CPL class so he doesn't have to deal with, constitutional rights. Yeah, correct. Yeah, if he's going to have a gun, might want to do that. Tim, without pressure on the opposing quarterback, we will not make it to the Super Bowl. Yeah, and the coaches seem to at least give coach speak that they can replicate the pressure, just do it in different ways. Only one way to find out in the games. Sound service, if we lose, we lose. We still win the division. Let's hope so. Hetman, did Dan just expose himself as a criminal? Maybe, man. I try to be more of the Batman, although I guess in some ways Batman is kind of a criminal in some ways. So anyway, silent service. Let's hope Houston can step up Sunday. I was happy with what I saw out of him last week. The prior weeks, not as much, but last week he did pretty well. And again, I think he's added some mass to try to be more of a every down end. We'll wait and see, but this is a golden opportunity for him and other players to be sure. Johnny L, I'm not going to worry about any team. There you go. Derek, regarding if Green Bay gives any love or not, we need this game to demonstrate our dominance in the North. Yeah, we go ahead and get this game, man. We're going to be right as rain. At least it will put us in a real good spot. All right, Dennis, have a day. Same to you, my friend. Hopefully it is a great day. All right, guys, I'll go ahead and get on out of here. If there is some breaking news today, I'll get it to you as quick as possible. If you would be so kind, hit that subscribe button, hit that thumbs up button. You guys all know it helps the channel out exponentially. Otherwise, be kind to each other, be a good human being, do something nice for someone you don't know, and we'll see you all in the next Lions Talk Live. Take care, everybody.
Happy trails to you until we meet again.